Hey, I'm Eric Rokeach, and I'm here with Jeff Hill, another amazing client at Melt Fitness, and he's been working with Joe now for a little while. Seen some good results, and he's got some things he wants to share about his story and things that have taken place. So, Jeff, for everybody who's watching, I kind of want to fill them in with a little bit of background information briefly on, kind of how you got started training with Joe and training with Melt Fitness.
Well, I got started with Joe. He used to be a trainer at Gold's Gym, and so I would go in and do regular workouts. And so, in him observing me, he noticed that there were times when I was doing some improper techniques, and so he would just take the time, out of concern, to tell me that I was doing something wrong, or I needed to work on this technique, or I needed to do this better. And so that's how we really got started. So I began to have conversations with him and found out he was a personal trainer. And so he said, you should sign up with me. So I did. And so after signing up with Joe, he started working with me, taught me proper techniques. Before working with him, I'd have all kinds of injuries, pain, soreness, and, just doing wrong techniques. But after working with him, he taught me proper techniques. So one of the things I noticed is I don't hurt as much. I don't have as many injuries as I used to have. And he also taught me how to, mix up my routine so that I can get better results. So as a result of that, I find myself I'm more lean. I'm more. I have more strength. I have more energy. So it's been an amazing, a time working with him, and he's totally just transformed my whole workout routine. And so it's been great.
Now, you'd been working out, you were doing things, so you probably kind of thought, all right, I've got a good idea, base knowledge of what I'm doing. What made it really think, all right, I need to maybe start, looking for a trainer or start working with somebody like Joe?
His approaching me. He approached me and said, hey, you might want to do this, you might want to do this when you're trying to do this. So that kind of sparked an interest. So maybe I need to, figure out, what I can do to help improve. And when he told me he was a trainer, that's what really sparked it. So I think he motivated my interest by taking some concern, just as a regular person in the gym, and just kind of giving me some techniques about how to lift or how to do certain exercises. So that kind of motivated me to get involved with him.
Now, you were working with him before he even opened the current facility, Melt Fitness, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what was it that said, all right, I'm actually going to continue to work, with him and go to the new place?
Well, he told me that he had a vision to open up his new place. I believe that I might have been his first client. And so, so he told me he was leaving Gold's Gym and he was doing some stuff on his own. And by that time, we had connected so well, we was getting results. I was feeling better about myself. I used to have a problem with blood pressure being high, and that got under control. So I just got used to, feeling good. And so when he told me he was opening up his new place, I just kind of just followed him over there, because I was getting good results with him. So I didn't want to disrupt, so I just followed him there.
So you followed him over, you said you're probably one of his first clients. How long have you been training with him now for, would you say?
About 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years. Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So obviously things are working. A lot of changes were going into it. And when you first started, like in that transition to move over, was there, when you first started working with Joe and things like that, was there any hesitations as to, or concerns that you had that you were uncomfortable with or anything? Or were you just more excited to go and work and see what the outcome was?
Well, I was, he started making me do some things I wasn't accustomed to doing, like doing stair exercises or running outside and because I'm not really a runner, so he would take me out and jogging, and just doing stuff I wasn't accustomed to. And it was tough at first, but he pushed me. And at times I would get, winded, and I was like, what are you doing? And so we had this slogan called, let's not get crazy, because he just had me doing stuff that I was not accustomed to doing. So it was kind of uncomfortable at first, but, after, disciplining myself and continue on being consistent with him, it started to feel uncomfortable, but feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
And you just feel good afterwards. After you do a hard workout, you just feel good afterwards. I just love the way that I felt afterwards. And so that's what kind of kept me motivated.
Was it the discomfort or things that you weren't comfortable with? Do you think it was more maybe a mental thing because you hadn't done some of those things before, or were you just kind of nervous physically that, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this?
Yeah, I think it was both. I think it was mental, and I think it was just the fear of my body being challenged in ways that it's never been challenged before, So that was kind of uncomfortable too, because it was my body was doing things that I was not accustomed to. and so it was difficult, it was challenging, and so um, that was just basically why it was uncomfortable, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, because
So
my body was being uh, doing things that it just was not accustomed to doing.
okay. So you started doing these things, right? Walk me through, and you touched on some of them before, but walk me through the results and things that you've seen that you just kind of, I guess, amazed you, things that you hadn't expected.
Well, I'm more toned, I'm more lean. Um, my pecs are they're like they've never been before. I got pecs that can dance. My uh, I have a lot of energy. I less pain, no shoulder pain. Just drastic changes. That I never felt before. And not only that, the people compliment me. you know,
Right.
so that's the biggest, that's the best part of it. People look at, hey, you look good. so,
Right.
so that's the best tester of results. When people notice it, people notice it more than I do, I guess. But people do notice that my body has been transformed.
You mentioned too that before you had high blood pressure, and that's taken care of now.
It's under control. Joe, helped me with that. And Joe was always concerned about if you have health issues. So he's always concerned, to make sure that you get things under balance. So it's not just about working out with him.
Right.
He just truly, genuinely cares about you holistically.
Yeah.
That's what I like him too.
Yeah, and in just a minute, I'm actually going to dive into a few things about Joe and the trainers and who they are. I want to just keep you. I kind of want to just keep focused on the results because you've seen some really great changes. And I guess the next question that I had with that is I want to know if, you've done all this. So has it been like a life-changing experience for you?
Yes, I just feel, much better. I feel healthy. Like I said, I have a lot more energy. I just feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. I feel better now than I did when I was in high school, because it's just a disciplined kind of lifestyle now. I'm disciplined with it. I have to get to the gym. I have to work out. And if I don't work out, I just don't feel right. So that's the biggest, I think, most positive change in this whole thing, that I have become disciplined to do this.
Now,
Yeah.
now tell me about because you're there, you're working with them, you see all the other people. Tell me what the atmosphere and the gym itself is like when you're there.
Well, everybody's friendly. Everybody's encouraging each other. It's more like a family style kind of gym. Everybody's just like family. Especially when we're doing boot camps or if we're doing challenges, or everybody's just friendly. Everybody eggs each other on. Encourages each other. It's inspiring. And there are different people there of all different levels of fitness, and nobody looks at anybody any less than if you're more fit than somebody else. So nobody looks at anybody that way. It's just like a family setting, and it's just nice to be there.
So it's a place for people who are beginners, maybe to someone who's a little bit more advanced, so anybody can kind of fit in.
And nobody's intimidated. I mean, it's just like
Mm.
you are where you are. You work on what you want. You have your goals. Nobody's intimidated. You just do. You're there to make some goals for yourself, and you work on your goals. And nobody looks at you weird. Nobody. It's just that kind of thing.
Now, you obviously were at a different place. You followed Joe to his facility, which has been going on successfully now for years. So tell me what kind of makes this different than maybe some of the other gyms or places that you've been a part of.
Well, the bigger gyms, you have a lot of people in there. A lot of people. You got people that that work hard,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel sometimes you feel intimidated because they're sitting there and the bulky guys who lifting the weights and all this kind of stuff, and sometimes you feel intimidated. But I think I'm less motivated in the bigger gyms, because I'm not going to push myself the way these trainers do. You know what I mean? So when I get tired, I sit down and take a little breather for like
Right.
10 minutes, and then I get back at what I'm going to do. So the bigger gyms, at least for me personally, they're less motivating to me because I'm not going to push myself the way that somebody else will push me.
Right. Okay. And you talked about the atmosphere before, right? It's more of a family atmosphere, I'm guessing, right, at a place like this than at a bigger chain gym.
At a bigger gym, everybody's just there doing their own thing. There's no connection.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're there lifting with a buddy or something like that. But there's no interaction with other people. Everybody's just doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But in the studio type setting, we have things here, boot camp. You have small groups, and so you get engaged with other people. And I think that's one motivating factor that kind of keeps you inspired, because you're doing it together.
Now, there's some people seeing this. They're going to hear your story. You've seen a lot of changes. You've been 5 to 6 years. You've been doing this, so it's obviously a testament that it's worked for you and you're happy. But what would you want to say to somebody who's on the fence that maybe they're not sure if this is the right place or right thing for them? What would you want to say?
Try it. You'll like it. That's the thing. You'll never know until you try. There's no reason to be intimidated. I think it's worth just taking the risk to. And I think once you make that connection, you'll find that it's probably one of the best things that you can do for yourself. Because you're not by yourself. You're just there. You got coaches that are there to motivate you, to challenge you, to train you, and you got other people that are there to also encourage you. So if you're afraid of taking the risks, there's more risk than not taking the risks.
That's a great quote. Great quote. So I want to shift gears. I want to talk a little bit about the trainers, the coaches, and Joe. So you probably know them, and you know Joe, and you've been there long enough to kind of really get to know who these guys are. I guess explain maybe to people who are watching this what type of people they really are. Not maybe as trainers, right? They're trainers, they get you results, but what type of people they are.
They are. Well, obviously they know their skill. They know their stuff. So it's not like somebody off the streets is trying to give you pointers. They've obviously been educated in this field. Mm-hmm. They know their skill. They know how to craft their routines to get results. They challenge you. It's not like it's going to be easy. And I have, if I'm doing something and I'm slacking, they'll say, Jeff, you know better than that. You got to, pick up more weight. So they don't let me slack. Mm-hmm. They know where you are in terms of your ability. And if you do anything less than what they know you can do, they'll push you, and they just won't let you slack in that area. But they're also caring and concerned. They, always asking you how you feel, how you feeling today. And if you have any issues going on, they kind of zero in on that to try to help you to kind of ease some of the discomfort you may be having. So it's not that they're just there to just train you for a half hour and that's it, but they really look at you as a person. And I think the best thing they can do, they have so many clients, but they look at each one individually. And so you feel that that as one person, that you are individually connected to these trainers because mm-hmm. they know so well. But they also know, their clientele as a group, So I just think that's great. You don't get that often, and to be in a facility where you're feeling known, that's great.
If you were to kind of sum that up in maybe a few words or phrases, to kind of put them into a few words or phrases, what do you think comes to mind?
Challenging, motivators, caring. Mm-hmm. And willing to go the extra mile to make sure that you get the results that you're looking for.
Okay. Now, last question I have for you is obviously 5 to 6 years you've been working with Joe. Joe's the owner. Let's say you were never going to see him again. Okay, you weren't going to be able to call him. You weren't able to text. No communication. It's the last time that you would ever be able to speak to him, and you only had 30 seconds. What would you want to say to him?
Oh no! That's about it.
Oh, that was funny. Is there anything that you want him to know that maybe you haven't shared with him yet about kind of things have changed in your life or anything like that?
Yeah, I think just being connected with Joe has, he's just a motivator. He just has helped me to transform my life. Anything that it's not even about just the workout. Sometimes he'll give me books that motivate my mind. So he's just a person that that you really look up to, and you really are comfortable knowing that he's for you. You know what I mean? And he's going to go the extra mile. I can't say anything else about him. He's just awesome.
That's great. Well, Jeff, you've been having great success there. I appreciate you taking the time to share your story here and so everybody else can see it, and wish you the best of luck with everything going on in the future.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.